Ooh. Hey guys, so in today's video, we're going to be making a video that, I am going to be making a video. I wish you guys would help me. You guys want to come edit it for me? I am going to be making a video comparing the Traxxas Rustler 4x4 VXL and the Traxxas Hoss 4x4 VXL. This is a video that people have been asking me to do for pretty much since the Hoss has come out, and I wanted to get some time under my belt with that thing. I want to get some experience with it. I want to, break it, repair it, see how it works out in the long run before I do a comparison between these two RCs, because I've had the Rustler since the release day. It's a release day Rustler, and I've had the Traxxas Hoss since the day it released, but now I've had plenty of time to work with both of them, and now I think I can do a proper review or a proper comparison of the two. A couple things I want to point out: that even though this is a generation 1 Rustler, is upgraded to a generation 2. It has a generation 2 chassis, which gives it the longer battery tray. I also have the generation 2 drive shafts on the rear. You can see how they're kind of a gray color. I also upgraded the shocks. These are the big bore shocks, and so I do have 60-weight oil. But other than the shocks, which is not that big of a difference, other than the shocks, the rest of the RC is basically what you're going to get if you buy a generation 2 Rustler right now. I do have the generation 1 body on there, but the Hoss is basically stock except for the front drive shafts. They are still, because I kept breaking them, the plastic ones, and so other than that, the whole thing is stock. So basically both of these are very similar to what you get if you were to buy them brand new. So first thing we're gonna do is talk about the price of these two RCs. Now, they run off the same battery and the same chargers, so that doesn't change the price of these two RCs. And if you're wondering, I checked the Traxxas website, and the most expensive battery, the most expensive charger is going to run you below $150. On the Traxxas website, the Rustler is $430 and the Hoss is $450, so it's a $20 price difference between these two RCs. So that's not that much of a price difference at all. A lot of time when people buy an RC, they factor in upgrades to the price of it. Like everyone knows, if you buy an Erevo, you're probably going to change the servos out, and those can be kind of pricey. Neither one of these have any kind of upgrade that you have to do out of the box. They both run really, really well, and so you don't have to like replace the motors, the SCs, the servos, or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about buying it, getting it home, then having to shell out $100 or $200 just to get it to run right. Neither one of these have anything like that I know of. So let's compare these two from the outside first. So the first thing you'll notice is that the Hoss has got much bigger wheels. You can see the Rustler has the more traditional, what do they call, the talons on there, and these right here have the sledgehammers. They are very, very knobby. You can see they have got some serious knobs on them. As far as the body goes, they got very similar designs on their bodies as far as like roof racks. Both of them have a roof rack on them, and they both have the clipless body mount system. They both have something to protect the rear of it. This has got a little wing back there. This has got this little bumper, I'm not sure what you would call it, little tailgate guard. The Hoss has got the washer, not really washers, but the little I forget what they're called. It escapes me right at the moment, but it keeps the body from pulling off the screws. The Rustler doesn't have that, but I've never had the issue of the screws coming through the body, so I don't know. I don't know if the generation 2 have it, but the generation 1 does not. The big difference back here, you can see that the Rustler has the body cut out right here, and the Hoss does not. The Hoss has this bumper, and the body will come up over that bumper sometimes, but the wheelie bar back here, that wheelie bar is really sturdy. It's very nice. It does a great job. The Rustler's wheelie bar kind of sucks, and it will be pushed up sometimes, and it will push up behind the body and get caught, and it will just destroy the back body back here. This wheelie bar is just so flimsy. You can trade it out for the one on the Hoss. There's a few modifications you can do to make it fit, and I just haven't got around to it, but I plan on doing that one day. The Hoss also has these little pieces right here where the body tucks in, and it doesn't really work all that well. The body sometimes gets caught up inside there. Sometimes the body comes up on the outside. I don't know. The idea is good. Usually that kind of stuff right there prevents, like if the Hoss is like doing a wheelie, what have you, it prevents the air from getting up underneath there and pulling the body out and making the body act like a parachute. The Rustler doesn't have that really right here, and air will get up underneath there, but it's not that big of a deal. It's a minor inconvenience, but it's not something you have to worry about. The durability of the bodies isn't very good on either one of these. The Hoss, you can see this one's got some serious damage right there. It is just broken really badly right there. The rest of the body seems pretty good, but right there it's just not all that great. As far as the Rustler goes, the Rustler gets destroyed back here. This back half, I know this is a new body. You should see my old one. My old one is just basically just completely ripped apart back here. The back of these bodies get torn up pretty bad, most because of this wheelie bar. It gets up there and it starts pulling the body off. But other than that, the rest of the body seems to hold together pretty well. It's just that rear side kind of like falls apart on you. They are basically the same size. They got the same wheelbase. The ride height is very similar. This one's a little bit higher because the tires are taller, but there's nothing really up underneath here that makes the Hoss any more higher off the ground. You can see that the chassis on the Hoss sits up pretty high, and on the Rustler it is pretty low. Let me turn both these sideways. Yeah, you can see you got a lot of ground clearance up underneath the chassis, but the Rustler's got a low center of gravity chassis, and it's very, very low to the ground. It makes it stick to the ground a little bit better. I had a bee harassing me, so I came over here to the front yard. But when you take the tops off underneath these two, you can really see the difference between them. Now, the front and the rear of both these RCs is pretty much the same. I don't know what all parts they use that are exactly the same, but we'll take the arms, the toe links, the shocks, the shock towers, all that stuff looks the same on both these RCs. But obviously not every part is the same. You can see there's some obvious differences right here on the front and the rear of both these two. So not every part is the same, but a lot of them are. The most obvious differences are with the chassis and everything attached to the chassis. You can see this has got a low center of gravity chassis, so the drive shaft is up really high. You can see that the drive shaft is real low on this because the chassis is up really high. You can see the motors are obviously different. This has got a much bigger motor on there. The ESCs are different. Their servo placement. Their servo is kind of in the center of the Rustler. You've got to take a ton of stuff off the Rustler to get to the servo. Is a pain in the butt to change that servo out. This servo on the Hoss is super easy to get to, very easy to work on. So if you have to change that out, it is no problem at all. The two biggest differences in the drivetrain is that this right here has got a slipper clutch. The Rustler has a slipper clutch inside there. The Hoss does not. It goes straight from the motor, straight to the drivetrain. No slipper clutch, no push drive, nothing. It is actually crazy that they do that. I'm expecting to strip gears out. I haven't yet, but the Rustler has a slipper clutch to try to save your drivetrain from stripping gears and breaking shafts and things like that. The other really big difference is the motor. Look how short that motor is compared to this one. This is the same motor that's in the Traxxas Max, which is a lot bigger than the Hoss. So they put the Max motor into the Traxxas Hoss, and it really changes how it performs. Now this right here is a 3500 kV motor. This right here is a 24 kV motor. Get over here in the shade, how that hot sun for a minute. So the 2400 motor is in the Hoss, the 3500 is in the Rustler, and the kV is the revolutions the motor will spin. So the higher the kV, the faster it will spin, the more revolutions. Now you may be wondering, why does the Hoss have a bigger motor but fewer kVs, fewer revolutions? It's because the Hoss has a high torque motor. It's really, really long, and it produces a lot of torque. It doesn't produce a lot of revolutions. The Rustler will actually outrun the Hoss top end when you change the gears out because it has a higher revolution motor than the Hoss does. However, the Hoss puts out a lot more torque, and you will definitely see the difference when you get these things in the air. Time to get these two moving. And I'll be running these Traxxas 3-cell 5000 milliamp 50C burst lipos in both of them. They're the ones on my Revo, so they have the exact same batteries in both these RCs. So we're going to start off with a little speed test. So we're going to put this inside there and see what the Rustler does, and then we'll do the Hoss if I can get the body off. Oh, seriously, wow. There we go. That's pretty much top speed. Running down the driveway. Let's come back top speed. It's 43 miles an hour. It's pretty good. And it's time for the Hoss. Ooh, try to keep it on the driveway. That's full speed right there. So out of the box stock gearing, let's see which one is faster. 44 miles an hour. Remember when I said that the Rustler will outrun the Hoss if you change the pinion out on it? That's true. They have different gearing and different tires. The Rustler has an 11-tooth pinion. The Hoss has a 14-tooth pinion. That 14-tooth pinion is going to allow it to go faster. Also, the Hoss has got taller tires. Taller tires is just like gearing it up, right? So you've got the same spur gear, different pinions, and different tires, and that is why the Hoss is a mile an hour faster out of the box. However, if you just swap out the pinions for like the, what is it, the 17-tooth pinions, and I think the 20-tooth pinion also on the Rustler, it will be faster than the Hoss. That's just the way the gearing works. Like I said, the Rustler has a higher top end when you swap out the gearing, but it's geared this way. It's geared low like this because if you run it through the grass with a high with a high tooth pinion, like a 17 tooth pinion, it'll overheat. And I run my stuff off-road, I've run it through the grass, and I've ridden it through the grass before, and it just doesn't last long. It will overheat and shut down, and you don't want to do that to your RC cars. I forgot to mention it, but the tread pattern is really important. This is like an all-terrain tread pattern, so it does pretty decent on all terrains, but doesn't excel on any terrain. This right here is an off-road tread pattern. You see how knobby it is? This excels really, really well on grass, dirt, anything that's pretty loose, anything it can grip into. It grips really well on asphalt. The problem is asphalt will eat these tires up and wear them out very quickly. Now we're gonna drive it around, just this general driving experience. You see it moves, doesn't it? Woo. I actually have the slipper clutch is pretty tight on it right now, so I gotta be careful not to destroy the spur gear. So it moves through that grass pretty easily. I'm trying to push the limits to see where it rolls over at, so you can see it. It does stick to the ground pretty well. Ooh. Especially if it loses traction, right? Oh. Yeah, see, it sticks pretty well to the ground. So it doesn't feel like it's gonna roll or anything. That's that low center of gravity chassis, keeping it on the ground. And see, it will do wheelies pretty easily too. It's got plenty of speed, plenty of pep. Now for the Hoss. And see, it just picks its front end up so quickly and so fast. It's got all that torque. So you can see it picking up. See, it picks up those wheels pretty easily right off the bat. Oh, if I felt it starting to try to come up, so. Oh. See, it rolls not super easy, but easier than the Rustler. You can definitely tell a difference in the way it handles. What's funny is I'm trying not to roll it over, but I kind of want to demo its limits. So you can see it picking up those inside wheels pretty easily. Oh, will it surf right? Luckily, I cut the grass yesterday, so it's got a little bit of loose material down. You can see it's picking up the inside tires when it does turn, so it loses traction to the inside. And see, it's picking up the side tires. It's not rolling. See, it's not super bad about rolling, but you can definitely tell a difference in the way it handles. It doesn't keep those inside tires on the ground. You lose a lot of power to the inside tires when they come off the ground, the way the differentials work. And so when you come in through a turn, you just don't have the same amount of power. Oh. So as you can see, the Rustler does handle a little bit better than the Hoss. It's not drastically different. I know that like the Traxxas Max just rolls over, and maybe some people are expecting that out of the Hoss. The Hoss doesn't roll over like that. It will roll. It's not quite so bad as what you might guess. It's not as grounded as the Rustler. So if you want something that handles really, really well, the Rustler's the way to go. The Hoss doesn't handle horribly, but it does not handle as well as the Rustler. You can definitely feel a difference whenever I'm doing turns and stuff like that. You can feel the power just kind of trying to leave the Hoss, because the inside wheels come up and they just start spinning against nothing. They have no traction, and so the differentials just like steal all the power and prevent you from, you know, going anywhere. But the Rustler keeps that power to the ground pretty well. It's kind of like, that's kind of what the Rustler does, right? It's really good about that. It's very low center of gravity, and it really like shows whenever you run these two side by side. We got the ramp set up over here. We'll be landing over in this area. I'm giving my front yard a break. I have kind of a spot over there that's a little bit bare where I land on my RCs at. They've killed all the plants and vegetation right there, so I'm going to let it recover and we'll be jumping over here. But this is where the differences between these RCs is really going to show. I know you can see a little bit of difference with the Rustler when you're driving around, the way it handles. When you get these things in the air, the differences are very, very obvious. You have more control with the Hoss, but it's harder to control. You have less control with the Rustler, but it's easier to control. It's because whenever, like, if you pull the throttle a little bit with the Hoss, you'll get a very big movement, a very large movement. When you pull the throttle with the Rustler, you get a very small movement. That makes it easier to control. All right, let's get them flying. Ooh, the body came off first time. In case you're wondering, no, neither one of these have more success with keeping the body on than the other one. Both the bodies are going to give you about the same amount of issues, same amount of trouble. Ooh, that was way better. Oh, you see, I did a full throttle pull just then, and it wasn't able to correct it in the air. It just didn't have the power. The Hoss would have survived that easily. I should have hit the brakes, and I didn't think about it in time. It won't hit quite so fast this time. We'll have time to room to correct it. At least I landed on the wheels. Yeah, but see, I was doing like full throttle burst to pull that nose up just then. It just doesn't have the torque the Hoss does. So if you do a big movement, you see, you just can't do it with the Rustler. It just doesn't have it. See, that was full throttle right there. That was full throttle. You see, it's a very small movement. Now it's time for the Hoss. Ooh, that was not a full throttle burst, and it corrected it. All right, here we go. Go a little bit faster this time. You see, that was not a full throttle burst. This time I'm gonna do a full throttle burst, show you what it does. You see it? You see it completely pull the front end up? This time I hit it pretty fast and see if it'll nose down like the Rustler does. Ooh, that was easy to save it in. Digging holes in my yard. As you can see, you got more control with the Hoss, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a better thing, because some people, they don't have the control with the throttle that they need to control an RC car in the air. And what I see a lot of people do, especially new drivers, they will drive something like the Hoss, and I'll have, you know, people over to my house, I'll demo RCs, stuff like that. What I see a lot of people do with something like the Hoss, they'll jump it and they'll hold the trigger too long, they'll push the trigger too hard, and it'll go backwards and it'll land on its roof, or it's land on its rear end. Now, I see that all the time. The Rustler seems to be a lot more friendlier with newer drivers. It's more friendly to people that don't have a lot of control with the throttle. And I'm not trying to insult anyone to say that, hey, you don't know how to control your throttle. I mean, some people just have a hard time with it, you know. It's just the way, you know, some people are. And if you have a hard time controlling the throttle, the Rustler is probably the better choice. The Hoss, it just requires just more discipline on the throttle. And, you know, some people don't want to think about things when they're driving. They just want to drive and have fun. And the Hoss requires more thought because you got to put in more throttle control. So keep that in mind when you're trying to decide between these two. So now we're gonna start doing tricks and stunts with the RCs. And I know the Hoss has a ton of them, the Rustler not so much. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do some stunts and some tricks with the Hoss. And as I do them, I'm gonna try to follow it up with the Rustler, kind of like playing horse. We're gonna play horse. I'm playing horse by myself. I have no friends. But we're gonna do kind of our own little game of horse between these two RCs. And we're gonna see if the Rustler can do any of the tricks that the Hoss can do. All right, first thing we do is ride on two wheels. Let's see. Easy, easy, easy. Woo. All right, let's see if the Rustler can repeat it. Let's see. Oh, easily. That was actually really nice. Let's do it again. Let's see. Oh, it lost traction. Oh. That low center of gravity chassis has made this kind of a challenge. Woo! It just has a hard time going up on two wheels. Now the Hoss does ollies. Kind of worry about doing them and stripping things out. There it goes. We'll try ollie over the stick over here. Let's see. There it goes. Whoo, that was clean. Right over it. Time for the Rustler. Now, hey, does the Rustler have an H or not? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Was that an H for the Rustler? Let's see if it'll ollie over this. See if it'll ollie on flat ground first. Let's see. I don't know if it will. Oh no, the slipper clutch is preventing it. You hear that? It's a slipper clutch. It kind of jumps off the ground. Ooh, let's see. Maybe I can get it over the stick. Let's see. Well, it got over it, but it hit it. Let's see if it can do a little cleaner. If it had a better wheelie bar and it didn't have the slipper clutch a little bit loose, let's see, I could tighten it, but if I tighten it, I risk stripping out gears. Oh, it did it that time. Good job. Good job, Rustler. It got it over it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't think the Rustler was gonna make it over the stick. All right, now we're gonna do a backflip off my backflip ramp, my 45-degree ramp. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do one that starts on the ramp itself. So it's not gonna be one that's in the air, it's gonna be one that starts on the ramp. So let's see. Ooh, easy, easy for the Hoss. All right, come on, Rustler. Surprise me again. Ooh, it didn't land on its, I mean, it kind of landed on its wheels. It bounced. What do you say? Give it another shot? There it goes. Finally. Good job. So now what we're going to do is backflip without the assistance of the ramp. What I mean is I'm going to let off the throttle right about there. And so it's going to coast up the ramp, and I'm not going to pull the throttle again until it's in the air, and it won't start the rotation until it is completely in the air. There it went. Easy, easy, easy. All right, time for the Rustler to do it. If it can. I don't think it's going to be able to pull it off. So nope. We'll give it one more shot. We'll hit it with a little bit more speed this time. Nope. Yeah, so I guess the Rustler, that's an O, right? So we got H-O on the Rustler. Come on. I got 3 more tricks up my sleeve. Yeah, I think I got a few more I can do. I call these quick flips, like quick flips. I don't know like if there's a proper name for it or what have you. It's just a backflip off of a ramp like this, where you do it like that. It's kind of a standing backflip with a ramp. So let's see. Nope. Nope. Oh, it did it. So you gotta really wait late on that ramp. We'll just ignore that one. So we're gonna do a wheelie, hit the ramp, and do a front flip. And let's try that. Super easy with the Hoss. All right, Rustler, let's try it. Let's see. Kind of, sort of. I guess we'll let you have that one. All right, so we got this backwards corkscrew. I don't even know what you call it, but you'll see if I can do it. There it goes. Yes, I will let that count. It's actually landing backwards. It's supposed to land facing the way it's going, so it's going all the way around. There it goes. That was cool. That was so cool. Man, the Rustler's actually really good at that one. The Hoss should be taking lessons from it. That was perfect. Holy cow, that was so perfect. The Rustler's doing a lot better than I thought it was going to do, but we got one more final thing that we're going to do. We're going to send both of them full speed, top them out, coming down the driveway. Going to hit my 45-degree ramp, and we're going to see which one flies farther. So which one do you think is going to go farther? Which one do you think is going to go farther? And even if they don't land on the wheels, it's going to count. Like whichever one goes farther, it does not matter. I'm saying this for the last trick, just in case I break something, because I'm going to hit them like wide open. So leave a comment down below. What's your guess? Is the Rustler going to go farther? Is the Hoss going to go farther? Let's find out. I got to stand right in the path of it. So right here, good job. That was really good. Let's go get a cone and mark it. I don't want to leave the Hoss out here. All right, time for the Rustler. Ooh. All right, there's where it landed. Ooh. Please tell me you didn't break anything. Look, see, remember I told you about the what do you call it, the wheelie bar doing that? That's what it does. All right, so the Rustler didn't go quite as far. It landed right there. So that's not bad at all. It's respectable. So, well, good job, Rustler. You almost made it. Let's see how far that was. Got it zeroed out. Base of the ramp. You know what I'm actually impressed by is how straight it went in line with what the Hoss did. It didn't deviate. Look at it. It's just right in line with where the Hoss landed. So it went 57 feet and the Hoss went 61. So that's not bad at all. It's like a 4-foot difference. It almost made it, but of course it's moving a mile an hour less. So I don't know if the suspension changed, how far they went or what. Maybe the Rustler soaked up that ramp better than the Hoss did. And in case you're wondering why I'm not doing a test run back here in my backyard to show you how they handle rough terrain, it's because all that green is poison ivy. There's so much poison ivy back here. You can see I come back here and sprayed yesterday. The blue dye lets me know where I marked it at, where I sprayed at. So there's tons of poison ivy back there. And you can see my arm from a month ago. I still got discoloration, and I still got scarring and stuff from where I got poison ivy on me a month ago. So I'm not messing with that. All right, guys, there you have it. The Traxxas Rustler 4x4 VXL compared to the Traxxas Hoss 4x4 VXL. So what do you think? Which one looks more fun to you? If you have both of them, which one do you like more? Leave your answer in the comments down below, and I'll check it out. I personally like the Hoss better than the Rustler. Not to say that the Hoss is a better RC than the Rustler. Is different. I don't think either one is better than the other. I think they are pretty equal, and they are just different in their own way. And I think they each excel at something different, and I think they are really good at what they do, and I really don't think either one is better than the other. So as far as like durability and stuff go, I think that they're both pretty durable. They hold up about the same. I don't see one being more durable than the other one. You know, this one has body issues right here. This one's got body issues on the rear. Other than that, the bodies hold up pretty decently. I have broken the drive shafts on the rear on this one. I broke the drive shafts on the front on this one. On the Rustler, I have broken the motor mount, 2 spur gears. I bent the center drive shaft. I burnt out a servo by putting tires that were too heavy for it, and it burned up the servo. This right here, I haven't broken anything other than the front drive shafts. So, and by the way, I have beaten the crap out of the Rustler. If you ever seen my launch video, I take the Rustler and I launch it like just so many times. I sent it off my ramp at 60 miles an hour, and it went 83 feet. And I did that twice. It landed and rolled away both times. So I have really, oh yeah, I bent the shock one time. Did I mention that? I don't know if I mentioned that, and that's where I replaced the shocks. But you know, I have really beaten the crap out of it. I have really beaten the crap out of it. So I think they're both pretty durable. They seem to be pretty tough. I think that the Rustler is better for people that are not very good at driving, and it's better for new drivers. I think that the Traxxas Hoss is better for experienced drivers. My wife's telling me that dinner is ready. So I think the Hoss is better for experienced drivers. And this is what I see. Whenever someone comes up and I demo RC cars for them, they are blown away by the Hoss. Like, oh, that thing's amazing, that thing's so cool. But when they actually start driving them, they end up liking the Rustler better because it's easier to control, it's easier for them to handle. When you drive it around, it sticks to the ground a little better. It's just easier to control. The Hoss is just too much for a lot of people. It's got too much torque, too much power. It wants to like roll backwards all the time. It rolls a little bit easier than the Rustler does. It's harder to control in the air for a lot of people. So I think that the Rustler is great for a new driver, a new hobbyist, and I think the Hoss is more for experienced drivers. Of course, you can always put it on training mode, but I think that a lot of people, they prefer the Rustler because it's just easier to control, and that's just better for a lot of people. Also, it depends on the terrain you got to drive it on. If you have a lot of rough areas and you got a lot of off-roading that you can do, the Hoss may be better. If you have nothing but like a flat yard that's just pretty smooth like what I got here, and you don't have any jumps, you're not gonna be sending it out across the yard on jumps or anything like that, the Rustler may be better. If you have a local track, like a hobby track or whatever, RC car track, the Rustler is probably gonna be better. Just put some tires on there that's got some different tread patterns that's made for like hard compact dirt, and they'll do great on like a track, and so you'll have a lot of fun doing that. But you know, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. It's really up to you. It's a personal preference thing. I think that the Hoss being $20 more doesn't really matter. I have fun with both of them. The Hoss, I have fun in a different way. If you get either one of them, you're gonna have a blast. That's just how it is. But yeah, I gotta go and eat. I hope this video helped you guys out. If this video swayed you one way or the other, or it made you, or it helped you in deciding on which one you're gonna get, let me know down in the comments below. But that's all I got for you today, guys. Be sure you subscribe to the video. I've filmed all day long, didn't tell you to subscribe. Subscribe to the video, like the video if you like it, share it with your friends. I thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys later.